Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the astrological forecast for the upcoming week. And this one will be predominantly focused on the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, which will be the first lunation of this new astrological year because we entered only just a few days ago into Aries season. But this will be also the final eclipse in the sign of Aries until 2032. But that's when we're going to be having the eclipses on the south node over there. This time it was on north node. So we have a lot to unpack. There are a lot of planets in Pisces, in Aries, a lot of endings, a lot of beginnings. As I mentioned, we only just entered into Aries season, therefore we entered into a new astrological year. So the reset took place and there is definitely a lot to talk about. So anyway, before I take it any further, let me just open this space and invite my higher self, my spirit guides, ancestors, angelic team, ascended masters, all the beings of light that wish to be present for this recording. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, especially my astrological team. And thank you everyone for listening. I'm just going to get the promo out of the way. So as people might be aware, I'm running my seasonal eclipse sale at the moment until April 1st. All my services are 25% off. I only have just about 7 appointments available, I think, for April because I am taking 2 weeks off because of my upcoming birthday and also because of my upcoming relocation back to Europe. So if you would like to have a reading with me and you would like to have it in April, then book soon because these places are going to fill up and then I'm going to be taking appointments from May onwards. So that's out of the way. Let's just focus, shall we? So I'm recording this on Saturday. This will be airing tomorrow on Sunday. So either way, moon is in the sign of Capricorn as of last night, and that will remain the truth until Monday the 24th. So today we are also experiencing today on Saturday, so for you it was yesterday when you're watching this, the conjunction between Sun and Venus. Venus is retrograde still. This is happening on 2 degrees, 39 minutes of Aries. The last conjunction between Sun and Venus took place on June 4th, 2024, and it was on the same day as Mercury and Jupiter had a conjunction, and the last conjunction between Venus and Sun took place in Gemini. So this one is in Aries. These are all masculine energies, young energies. We are definitely being initiated for many things for sure. Then tomorrow, Sunday, so the day when you might be watching this, Sun is making a sextile to Pluto, 3 degrees, 25 minutes. This is evolving the cycle that began between the two of them with their first conjunction in the sign of Aquarius, which took place on January 21st on 1 degree, 43 minutes. This sextile is happening 3 degrees, 25 minutes. Okay, and then we're going to enter into a new week, Monday the 24th, with Moon still in the sign of Capricorn, but Moon is moving into the sign of Aquarius on Monday the 24th. And also on Monday the 24th, we are experiencing Sun-Mercury conjunction. Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Aries at this point, 4 degrees, 25 minutes on Monday. And this is the first conjunction since the last conjunction, which was in the sign of Aquarius that took place on February 9th. So not even 2 months ago. Yeah, so it wasn't so long ago. Sun and Mercury had a conjunction in the sign of Aquarius on 21 degrees, and now they're conjuncting again in the sign of Aries. Again, all masculine sign, all young energy, all about initiation and forward momentum. But Mercury is retrograde, and Mercury is the ruler of the south node, also the ruler of Jupiter, which is the ruler of the north node, the traditional ruler of the north node. So there is a lot of reevaluation going on with regards to the program, with regards to how we identify reality, connecting with it, and how we want to identify reality and connect with it going forward. So this is Monday, Tuesday, the 25th. Mercury is making his second sextile to Pluto because Mercury is retrograde. We have all this free. So technically this week, apart from the Sun-Mercury conjunction, everything is a continuation of aspects that already began. So on Tuesday, as I already mentioned, Mercury is making second sextile to Pluto, 3 degrees 27 minutes. The first sextile took place on March 5th. The third and the final one, post-retrograde, will take place on April 20th. Then on Wednesday, the 26th, Moon moves into the sign of Pisces, and Mars is making his third and a final square to Chiron, currently ruled by Mars. Mars is still in the sign of Cancer. So the first square between Mars and Chiron took place on October 13th, which was right before the full moon in Aries, I believe, which was not an eclipse. And then the second one took place on February 3rd. February 3rd, this sorry, what is this? Yes, second one was February 3rd, and then we have in the third one, yes, third one on 22 degrees. This is Wednesday, the 26th, March 26th. So as I already mentioned, Mars is the current ruler of Chiron. This is the first quarter square, which is the crisis in action. What needs to change is the know thyself in order to go into this new direction. Chiron being the key between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn, we know, is moving shortly into the sign of Aries in May, and Uranus into the sign of Gemini in July. Currently, they are culminating their cycles, also Neptune. So the key to the future is to know yourself, because Mars, as the ruler of Chiron, is in the sign of Cancer. Trust your intuition. All right, Thursday, the 27th, Venus is re-entering Pisces. So Venus currently being retrograde is in the sign of Aries. At the time of me recording this, Venus is retrograding back into the sign of Pisces on Thursday, 27th. And right after the ingression back into the sign of Pisces, Venus is making her second conjunction to Neptune. This is happening on 29 degrees, 53 minutes of Pisces. The first conjunction took place on February 1st, and the third and the final one will take place on May 2nd. And that will be in the sign of Aries, because we know that Neptune is entering the sign of Aries for the first time in our lifetime at the end of this week. So this is a second conjunction between Venus retrograde and Neptune. The first one obviously took place when Venus was direct, and also the third one will take place when Venus will be direct. Then Friday the 28th, Moon moves into the sign of Aries in preparation for the upcoming eclipse. And Saturday the 29th, for me here in a Central Standard Time, but technically it's the same time zone now as Mountain Daytime Saving Time Zone. It is happening at 4:57 a.m., 9 degrees of Aries. Technically that's not true, it's like 8:59, but anyway, we rounded up to 9 degrees, and we will be experiencing the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, as I already mentioned, the first lunation of this new astrological year, but the final eclipse in the sign of Aries. And right after that, Mercury will re-enter Pisces, same as Venus. Mercury being the retrograde currently in the sign of Aries, re-enters the sign of Pisces right after the eclipse, and conjuncts Neptune on 29 degrees and 59 minutes. So this will be the final conjunction between Mercury and Neptune in the sign of Pisces, and also the second of the three. So Mercury, let me just see where I wrote it. Mercury had his first conjunction with Neptune on 2nd of March, and the third and final one will be on 16th of April, also in the sign of Aries. All right, so we are again reevaluating our way of thinking, connecting with reality. Does it hold a meaning? Does it not? Is it still just a replication of the past, or is it something that's going to be serving us going forward with the Aries, right? And then on Sunday the 30th, we will end this week with Neptune moving into the sign of Aries for the first time in our lifetime. And Neptune will re-enter the sign of Pisces on 21st, 22nd of October, depending where you are in the world. And this will be when Neptune will be retrograde, and Neptune will then return back into the sign of Aries on 26th of January 2026, and will remain there until 22nd of May 2038. So for the next 12, 13 years, if you count in from 2025. And then Neptune will also re-enter Aries again from October 2038 until March 2039, and that's when Neptune will move into the sign of Taurus to stay for the next 12 years after that. So yeah, so here we got it. Neptune for the first time in our lifetime re-entering the sign of Aries on Sunday the 30th, and this will be technically almost the end of March. We'll only have one more day remaining, which will be Monday the 31st, and then we'll move into the sign of into the new month, still in the sign of Aries, but into the new month, into April, and that's something we'll be covering the next time. Okay, so these are all the transits that's going on prior to this eclipse. Obviously, there are things that are going to be active now that will be becoming exact after. So I'm going to share the charts, and we can dive in with what's going on with all of this stuff. I'm just gonna move my face over here. Okay, so all right, so the current chart, that's this one. So this is the eclipse chart. The eclipse is actually happening only a few minutes before the actual new moon, and it's happening on 8 degrees 53 minutes. And then the new moon in Aries, this is the eclipse in Aries, and the new moon in Aries will be happening on 8 degrees 59 minutes. So technically 9 degrees, but not exactly, but the eclipse is on 8 degrees 53 minutes. This is the eclipse chart. But as we know, this is new moon is always a reset. So it's something that began with the new moon and now is ending and resetting the cycle. So the eclipses in the sign of Aries has been ongoing since April 2023. The first one was the first eclipse in Aries was actually the second new moon in Aries in 2023, and it took place on 29 degrees on 20th of April 2023. So that was the first time we experienced the eclipse in the sign of Aries in this cycle, and that was the first one was in a closing phase conjunction. Then the second time, which we experienced a year ago, and that's this chart, April 8, 2024, happened in a new phase conjunction with the North Node, because the Sun and the North Node had a conjunction 4 days before on a 4-4 portal, and we can see there is a massive stellium in the sign of Aries. Venus is in a new phase conjunction with Neptune. Here, what we're experiencing now, Venus is in a closing phase because Venus just had the second conjunction with Neptune just before. So yeah, so this one, we can see this is where the things really kicked off, because it was the new phase conjunction on North Node in a new phase conjunction with the North Node. That was a year ago, April the 8th. And we can see Jupiter at the time was still closing to Uranus, because the conjunction happened later on that month on the 20th. And Mars was closing to Saturn, because the conjunction between the two of them happened 2 days later on April 10th. And at the time, yeah, everything was up here. So it was literally just in opposition with the South Node. So balancing had to take place because of our externalization of our power to the external environment, whether it's an entity or systems or whatever it was, because we know since this date, we had Pluto ingressed once more the sign of Capricorn and now finished with Capricorn. Pluto here was on 1 degree 58 minutes, 1 degree, the magician degree in the sign of Aquarius. It was making still technically, it was making a positive aspect to the nodes, but a little bit out of orb, 14 degrees, but it was sextile in Venus, just as it is now, to be honest, because it's still within the orb, the sextile between Venus and Pluto. So this is when the cycle that we are now resetting began, the more recent cycle, April 8. And then, of course, we had the full moon in Aries, which was not an eclipse, because we are experiencing quite an interesting anomaly this time round, that we have only solar eclipse in Aries and only lunar eclipses in Pisces. There are no lunar eclipses in Aries. We did not experience any full moon lunar eclipse in Aries this time round, and we are not going to experience any new moon solar eclipse in Pisces this time round. So this is like a very interesting thing going on there that is all about initiation with the Aries. We are just initiating. We don't know yet what it is, because Aries, right? Beginning of the cycle, we don't know what's going to come out of it. And with the Pisces, we are ending. We have the illumination. Yeah, we can see everything that doesn't work anymore. But, it's up to everybody to decide, okay, what do I want to do with this? Because again, Jupiter, as the traditional rule of the North Node, currently in the sign of Pisces, is in the sign of Gemini. And Mercury currently, and that's this chart, of course, the current one, as soon as this moves, Mercury currently is in retrograde. Still, for the actual eclipse, Mercury is in the sign of Aries. We can see here 0 degrees. So yes, so the full moon that took place on October 17th. So this was right before, 2 days before Pluto ingressed into the sign of Aquarius for the final time. Right? Actually, no, that was in November, wasn't it? Okay, yeah, I'm taking that back. This was the first lunation after the eclipses, first lunation after the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, and this was 1 month before, not 2 days before, 1 month before the Pluto's final ingress into the sign of Aquarius, because this took place in November, not in October. All right, so what can we see here? So the main thing we can see here is the square. There was a T-square from Mars in the sign of Cancer. This was pre-retrograde, because Mars not yet entered the sign of Leo. And then, of course, we had the retrograde that started in Leo in December. So Mars was squaring the actual full moon, not an eclipse, even though the nodes were still in Libra and Aries, but a little bit too far, 18 degrees away. But we can see Lilith was engaged. Lilith was conjunct the sun, opposing the moon. 17 degrees, technically still conjunct the South Node. This is a new phase between Lilith and South Node. So there are a lot of shadows of the humanity coming up to the surface of our consciousness, especially with regards to relational dynamics, that we have the opportunity to see and heal, right? And this was all squared by Pluto, the actual full moon, not an eclipse, full moon was squared by Pluto because we already had this opposition between Mars and Pluto in action. We have one more hit, exact hit, happening on April 26th, exactly on my birthday. So this is all about balancing who we were and who are we becoming, because at the moment, and also at the time of the final opposition between Mars and Pluto, both are in fire. Well, in masculine sign. Mars will be in Leo, back in Leo. Pluto will be back in Aquarius. Well, actually, Pluto is already in the sign of Aquarius, and also the second time they had an opposition between Mars and Pluto. The second time they had the exact opposition was in Leo and Aquarius in January. So we can see Pluto was squaring from one side, Mars was squaring from the other. Mars is how Pluto acts consciously. Pluto was ending his Capricorn stint. As I mentioned, it's actually fully ended the following month. And this is the analectic degrees, 29 degrees. And the moon itself was on 24 degrees. 24 is like double 12. So that's Pisces, right? That's about the culminations of the cycles. Things have to end, things have to change. Also, Neptune over here was making a trine to Mars. This is still active. And this is a supportive aspect. This is the first trine, which is the Leo the Leo flavor. So it's all about creating a new versions of ourselves. Jupiter obviously already here in retrograde in Gemini, reevaluating what that is. Mercury, where is Mercury? Scorpio, perfect. Venus, 29 degrees, perfect. So this is all about culminations of this sense of disempowerment. This old program that made us feel certain way came from the external environment. Venus being the ruler of Libra and Mars being the ruler of this full moon, and in opposition with Pluto, balancing act. So that was the opposition, that was the illumination in October, right after the eclipse season, right after the eclipse in Libra. So we are culminating the old ways of relating, the old ways of being, and creating new relational dynamic, new relational paradigms that come from within, right? Because Mars was in between now and then. Mars was retrograde in the sign of Cancer, started from the sign of Leo. We are seeking what is our true authentic expression by letting go of the layers of conditioning and letting go of the external projection. Right. So this is the current chart. We're going to dive into it in a moment. And then the full moon will be on 6th of October, 2025. We will have Uranus on 1 degree, just like we had Pluto on 1 degree 1 year ago when we had the new moon over here, 1 degree Aquarius. This would be Uranus on 1 degree. Actually, I believe there is a trine. Yes, perfect. Pluto is again on 1 degree. There is an exact trine between, well, I mean, the exact is happening the following year, but already 1 degree, 1 degree. Trine between Pluto and Uranus. Actually, it might be this year, right? 2025. I forgot we are already in a new year. The exact trine, I believe, is happening this summer sometime. So anyway, we have the trine between Pluto and Uranus. Perfect. Both are retrograde. And this is, well, actually, it must have happened not long before this or just after this. Okay, anyway, guys, I don't have the exact details, but yes, definitely they are having a trine over here. So this is a very supportive aspect because Uranus is the current ruler of Pluto. Uranus being in Gemini here for the first time. Uranus is moving back into the sign of Taurus and then will re-enter the sign of Gemini again on April 26th. 2026, so that will be my birthday next year. So there is stuff happening. And here we have what else is going on here? Saturn is already in Pisces. Neptune is still in the sign of Aries. This will be 0 degrees, so analytic degree again. Okay, let me move on because I'm just gonna get lost on charts that are not even relevant now. But yes, this will be the full moon of the new moon we are seeing now. This will not be an eclipse again because we will not have the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Aries until 2032. And then the cycle, which we are entering into now, will reset on April 17th, 2026. We can see everything is in the sign of Aries. Wow. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And also Uranus 29 degrees for the final time in the sign of Taurus because Uranus will be moving 9 days later. Venus here in a closing phase. So so this is all about us releasing this attachment to survival that was dictated by other people's conditioning, right? All right. So this is the current chart. This is the current eclipse that we will be experiencing next week or this week, depending where you're watching this, March 29th. As I mentioned, for me here, local time in Mexico, 4:48 in the morning. So depending where you are in the world, that's the time is when it's going to be happening for you. You can see Neptune, yes, on the analytic degrees, 29 degrees, just like Uranus will be following year, next year on 29 degrees of Taurus. Here, Neptune is on 29 degrees of Pisces. We are culminating cycles. Mercury 0 degrees, because as I already mentioned, Mercury is moving back into sign of Pisces later on the same day, conjuncting Neptune for the second time. And yeah, we have, actually, this is cool. Look, 27, 28, 29, perfect. Just like we had with the eclipse last year. We had the exact conjunction with Chiron, but on the eclipse chart, it's 22, 23, 24 minutes, all 19 degrees. So this is pretty, yeah, geeky, quite cool. All right. So you can see everything is over here in the sign of Pisces, close into the new moon, also Mercury close into the new moon with regards to this fixed chart, right? So everything is culminating. Also Saturn, North Node culminating. They're going to have a conjunction, I believe it's April 21st, right? Yes, April 21st, almost a year anniversary of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So that's when Saturn is going to conjunct the North Node. Venus is going to conjunct North Node and Saturn again. Actually, at this point, it will be two more times. And then, then when so retrograde another time, going forward another time, and also once more time Venus will conjunct this Neptune in Aries, of course. And yeah, Venus is the former ruler of the South Node. Prior to that, she was the ruler of the North Node. So we are definitely reevaluating everything, because relationship, everything is relational being here as a human. So we are reevaluating our needs, values, our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to others, and that influences the desire, right? The desire, why are we here? What are we doing? How are we actualizing, right? This is all connected to this foundation, Taurus, foundation, Libra, relationships are foundational aspect of our human experience, right? So Venus being right there in the middle of everyone in the sign of Pisces on 29 degrees, which 28 degrees, which is to number 10, which is the next year, 2026. This is a preparation for this reset, the next year. And here we got Mars is squaring Lilith, right? Mars is squaring Lilith. Mars was squaring the moon over here. Lilith was conjunct Sun, 17 degrees of Libra. This was October 17th, the full moon in Aries last year. And here Mars is squaring Lilith. So this is all about freeing ourselves, like being challenged to free ourselves from this shadow of projection, because we all have shadow, right? We are all light and dark. But when you know yourself, this is the know thyself, right? The Mars in Cancer. And now Mars, of course, is post-retrograde, still in a shadow until 2nd of May, but post-retrograde. Know thyself. When you know yourself, it doesn't matter, once you are aware of yourself and you accept yourself unconditionally, shadows and all, then it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks, right? Because usually we are trying to hide who we are because of the judgment, of the external judgment and of the societal conditioning. So these aspects of ourselves that are not societally acceptable, we try to hide, and then it becomes our weakness, our Achilles, our sense of disempowerment, that, oh, I have to keep this hidden because if anybody knows this about me, then I'll get rejected or I'll get whatever, crucified, doesn't matter. So with this Mars square in Lilith, it's saying like, okay, it's time to really face these shadows. Also Lilith being retrograde over their internalized process, because everybody has them. Everybody holds the darkness and the light, everyone. But when we are aware of our shadow, we can shine the light onto it, then they cease to have the power, right? It's like neutralization of the stuck energy. Because in essence, in our core essence, we are all light. We all came from light. We all return to light. There is no darkness in our soul, right? Our body holds dense energies because of the incarnation, because of the DNA, everything that's been recorded prior to our birth, right? That holds, that is, held in our DNA, the memory of the past, also, Cancer, the memory of the ancestors, like everything that ever happened on these planets. That's also the South Node in Virgo, right? South Node in Virgo, which is actually still being trined by Pluto out of sign, but still being trined by Pluto. Pluto is on 3 degrees, 30 minutes. How amazing. The free, which is the Christ consciousness, 33 Christ consciousness, the heart-centered consciousness. The age of Aquarius will be run on the heart-centered consciousness. It has to be coming from the heart, right? And we can see already Mars is almost coming back into the opposition with Pluto. As I mentioned, the exact third final opposition will be happening when Mars is back in the sign of Leo on April 26th next month. So Mars is also trining Saturn, right? This is happening like a couple of days later, I believe. Let me see. Mars trining Saturn on the 4-4. Yeah, 4-4 portal. We're going to have tons of things happening on a 4-4 portal, 4 aspects, and all of them will be repeats. So on 4-4 portal, we will have Mars exact trine to Saturn, and also Mars sextile to Uranus. Mars sextile to Uranus, and then there will be another few things going on. Oh yeah, Uranus sextile to Saturn, the exact one is on 4-4 portal. And Mercury second conjunction to North Node on a 4-4 portal, Mercury retrograde. So there will be a loaded 4-4 portal this year, guys. But anyway, so when we look at this chart, obviously we can see Mars is trining a lot of things over here because everything here is in stellium, even though Mars is not trining or squaring the moon, but is trining the stellium, and that is connected to this eclipse. And Mars is the ruler of the eclipse, right? So Mars is supportive this process of letting go of the past if it doesn't resonate with how you feel, right? The Cancer, know thyself, right? What did you learn throughout Mars retrograde between December and the end of February? What did you learn about yourself? How does it make you feel, the reality you're experiencing at the moment? Also with the Jupiter making a trine to this Lilith, like as I mentioned already, everybody has a shadow, everybody has a dark side, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that's who you are. It's just a part of your experience. But when we shine a light to it, when we again accept ourselves unconditionally, then it ceases to have a power over us, right? Like, okay, yeah, I know, and what? Everybody is holding all these characteristics. We all play a role. We all embody archetypes in order to see each other through these roles, to see what is no longer working, what is no longer in resonance with who we are becoming and where we're going. So we have the opportunity to transcend these energies, right? There's also with this Pluto making a sextile to Mercury, and Mercury obviously being conjunct everything over here, the second sextile. And this is a first sextile with regards to the positioning, right? So this is a Taurus sextile, the vaccine sextile. So that's foundational. We're creating a new foundation by perceiving things differently, inquiring, making a different choice, because Mercury is the rule of Gemini, choice. Mercury is the rule of the South Node, right? In a sense, Akashic records, right? Because everything that ever happened on this planet is recorded. It all exists in our memories. It all exists in us. It's the Virgo, the hero's journey, the human journey. Those who walk the earth before us, and those who who are walking the earth alongside us and will walk the earth after us. It is all recorded. It is all passed on from generation to generation. So this is supported. This is supported because Pluto is trining the South Node, and so is Uranus. Uranus is trining the South Node. So it all served. It all served. But now, is it still something we want to be dragging into the future? Yes, no. Everybody decides for themselves. Mars is saying, well, you can tune into your intuition. You can decide, what it is that is making you happy or not, because your emotions, right? Your intuitions, your emotions, and that is then helping you to make choices. This Venus, does this hold a value? Does it not hold a value? Venus in Pisces, apparently exalted, right? Very spiritual, very connected to the spirit. Mercury is just about to move back into the Pisces on the same day later on, conjunct Neptune, again, very spiritual, very connected to the source, very connected to our intuition, or having the opportunity to do so. Otherwise, we might feel lost, confused. We might feel that there are too many lies out there, too much chaos, right? We don't know what's the truth, and you will not find the answer to that that outside of you, right? Because Jupiter in Gemini, Mercury in Aries, moving back into Pisces, conjuncting Neptune, you will not find the answer outside of you because the North Node is in a sign of Pisces. It's time to reconnect with your higher self. So technically, in a nutshell, what is this chart representing? It representing this initiation of this next, well, you can say, what is it, 20, 7, 8, 7, 9 year cycle, from we had the first eclipse in Aries in 2023, the next one will be 2032. So yeah, technically 9 year cycle. And then if you look at the totality, by the time the North Node moves back into the sign of Aries, that will be, I believe, 41, right? So 18-year cycle. So yeah, so this is the initiation of this big cycle within cycle within cycle, but from North Node to Aries to North Node to Aries, this is like 18 and a half, 19 years time. So yeah, which is connected, very closely connected to Pluto's transit through the sign of Aquarius, because Pluto entered Aquarius for the first time in 2023, in March 2023. So this is what we evolve in with these eclipses. North Node, solar eclipses in Aries, solar eclipses on North Node in Aries is the initiation of this new direction for humanity. So at the moment, in this year number 9, the year of Hermit, we are all discerning, what does this mean for me? Asking question with the Mercury being the ruler. Mercury, you can say, is a trickster, but whatever you think about Mercury, Mercury makes you think, right? But now Mercury being a sign of Aries, going back to Pisces and then back into Aries, we will not be thinking the same way. We will be engaging more our intuition, more our extrasensory way of thinking, the higher mind, not just the ego mind. The ego mind is keeping us stuck in a rut. The ego mind is a replication of the past. Therefore, we need to use it for what it's meant, right? To be a companion, and it's a good tool, right? To get us through day, right? To get us out of bed in the morning, for to have a human experience, being Mercury being the ruler of Virgo, to operate in this reality. We cannot be up in a cloud meditating all day long every day. It's not possible. That's not what we came here for some people, yes, very few, but this is not what we came here for. We came here to have the totality of human experience and the whole range of what that represents, the emotions and everything. So Mercury going back into sign of Pisces, reconnecting with Neptune for the second time, and then the third and the final conjunction between Venus, Neptune, Mercury. Neptune will be in the sign of Aries. So this is the new, this is the reset, this is the new, and this is, as I mentioned, the first lunation of this astrological year. It is not the first lunation, it is not the first eclipse of this Gregorian year or even this lunar year, but of this astrological year. And this is the final eclipse. Also, it is happening on March 29th, 29, the anaretic degree, right? Neptune, 29 degrees, anaretic degree. So this is all about endings and new beginnings. But with the Aries, there is not yet manifested form. This is just the fire of creation, the initiation. Mars is in the sign of Cancer. It's all about being reawakened to your true identity, which is not the bunch of labels and our history that we identify with, which is part of it, but it's not all of it. It is, who are you really? Who you came here to be, right? So Mars 22 degrees, that is a Capricorn degree, I believe. So this is all of, and it's trining, Saturn. So of course it's a Capricorn degree, because this is all about creating this new in co-creation with the spirit. We're going beyond everything that's ever been created, even though this might remind us of something that was before, but the expression will be different because we live in a different time. Everything is different. Everything change. You change, I change, everybody change, right? Jupiter is in Gemini. This is actually a Mercury degree, right? Gemini degree, 15 degrees, right? Right dot in the middle, trine in Lilith, the shadow. When we embrace the shadow, it becomes the light. It no longer holds the charge. It no longer holds the charge. It's neutralized back to zero. And this is a 15 degrees. This is a midpoint for Jupiter. Yeah, and again, Uranus trine in the south node, sextile in the north node, Uranus being the ruler of Pluto. Pluto is all about expansion of our consciousness because it is taking us beyond with this Aquarius, free again is the number of Jupiter. 33 is the Christ consciousness, master number frequency, and also free is the Venus, is the Empress. Well, free is the number associated with Jupiter, which is the expansion, but it is in tarot is the Venus, is the Empress, the Venus. So this is the foundation. We're creating the new foundation. We are building it from the ashes of the past, right? Mercury in Aries burned, back to Pisces, reborn, right? In the source, in the water, with Mars as the ruler of this eclipse being the sign of Cancer, water, again, going back to womb, reborn, being reborn, to cultivate this south node that is in opposition with everything over here, right? The south node. Technically very white orb, but in opposition with the moon, because I mean it is a white orb, but I mean it's still eclipse in Aries. Despite its white orb, it's still classed as a eclipse in Aries. Therefore, the south node is opposing it. 27 degrees, number 9, culmination of the suffering, the Virgo in opposition Pisces age. Culmination of the Piscean age, the suffering, the sacrifice, the sense of unworthiness, inferiority. That's why it's being tried by Uranus. Uranus is breaking us free, 24 degrees, Pisces degrees, breaking us free from this survival complex, from this unworthiness complex. Venus is in Pisces, is being reborn over there, right? She already been to the sign of Aries. She's back to Pisces. She's going to go back to sign of Aries. So this is all about us being reborn. Pisces back to Aries, back to Pisces, back to Aries. Fire and water, burning the past and being reborn back in a source, right? Without having to have to die. We are reevaluating everything. Everything is being reevaluated. Everything is under microscope because Mercury is retrograde and is going back to Pisces. So we won't get lost in the details because it cannot be identified. In Pisces, everything is a source. It cannot be identified. So just trust your intuition. Mercury is going to be retrograde until April 7th. So Mercury is going to station direct before the full moon in Libra, which is not an eclipse. So this is pretty interesting chart. I mean, everything is obviously concentrated over there in Pisces and Aries, new phase, closing phase, triple everything, because as I mentioned, this entire week is this second or third of the three conjunction, square, sextiles, whatever. Mars over there is, right, it was square in Chiron. Where is Chiron? Chiron is... Huh? Why is Chiron not here? Am I blind? That's interesting. Did I turn off the Chiron? Let's see. Where is Chiron? Oh no, Chiron is... Oh yeah, no, I turned it off. Okay, let's put Chiron back on the map. Poor Chiron. Yeah, I was like, where is Chiron? Chiron. Oh yeah, perfect. Here we got it. Yes, T square. Mars is square in perfect. Yes, Mars is square in Chiron. Exact. Yes. Yeah, and this is the crisis in action, the pressure to learn to trust yourself. Yeah, now we have this beautiful square, the T square, which is creating the pressure for change. Know yourself, know thyself. This is what it's all about, this square. This square is saying, know thyself. Don't look outside of yourself. The external is just a mirror. It's just a reflection. It is not who you are, and it's not necessarily going to show you where. I mean, it is going to offer a contrast, which is a good thing, right? A mirror, contrast, opposition, but it's up to you to decide. Where do you want to go from there? Trust your intuition. Ask your gut. How does it make you feel? Pluto over here is saying like, yeah, you're being supported. We're breaking this old pattern. You already know everything. Everything that ever happened on this planet is in you. You hold the memory of everything. It's a South Node in Virgo. Virgo, the embodiment of the spirit. We all remember. We all remember. Just tune in. How does it make you feel? Trust yourself, right? And the Uranus will help you to break free from the sense of unworthiness, from the sense of that, oh, my sense of value depends on someone else. No, it doesn't. There is an in conjunction, blind spot between Uranus and Lilith. Uranus and Lilith. The other can never see you clearly because it's a reflection. They cannot tell you what's the right thing for you because they don't know how it makes you feel. That's the pressure, right? The other cannot know because only you know how it makes you feel. So with this eclipse, we are being initiated into reevaluate with the Mercury Venus retrograde. Does this hold a meaning or not? What do I want? What do I want to choose? What do I want to create? What timeline? What it will look like? We need to believe it before we can see it. The Pisces, the visioning, right? The visioning. And we need to learn to trust ourselves because without trusting ourselves, that's it. It will be very, very hard going forward because there is just too much information. It's an overload of everything out there. So you need to trust yourself. Look, 1455, 555, change. Yeah, and let's have a look. Where is Mars here? Yeah, look, Scorpio, perfect. Mercury 0 degrees. This is the full moon in October 2025. Yeah, Mars 10 degrees. Yeah, the reset. Square in Pluto 1 degrees. All of these will be square in Pluto 1 degrees, closing square. Letting go, the Magician 1 degree. Preparation for next year. Yes. But this is perfect. The Uranus Pluto trine. Wonderful. Jupiter trine in the North Node. Perfect. Yeah, because Jupiter is going to be expanding the work that we've done with Mars in Cancer. Jupiter is going to be expanding on that from June when Jupiter moves into the sign of Cancer. This is still pre-retrograde. October is still pre-retrograde. Jupiter goes retrograde very late this year. Know yourself. Whatever you believe about yourself, Jupiter is going to expand it. It's going to make us to learn to work with our emotions. So, yeah, initiation. Number 8, Scorpio, dive deep within because this Lilith is ready. 22 degrees, Capricorn degree again. Capricorn degree. We have to take responsibility. It is not other person's fault, right? Well, some things you can say they are, but we cannot change other people. We cannot change other people. It's our responsibility to change how we respond to the situation. We cannot change or control other people or situations outside of ourselves. The only thing we can change and control is ourselves and our response to these situations, circumstances, and people and behaviors. So I'm responsible for how I feel, not someone else, because they don't know how I feel and they cannot change how I feel. Only I can change it. So this is it. This is the initiation for the upcoming times and the upcoming times, as we were already talking about many times. When we learn to master our mind and our emotions, that's it. You master the matrix. Nobody else will have the power over you. Because when you learn to master these two things, you said number 8, infinity, the abundance, right? We just came out of number 8, year number 8. Number 8, well, technically, yeah, almost number 9. Like I said, in some places you can see that the eclipse is being said to be on 9 degrees, but it's on 8 degrees 53 minutes, which is 8, 8, 8, 8, double 8. This is all about creating a foundation for this new abundant universe, this new earth. But you need to trust yourself. You need to know yourself, and you need to let go, release, release the old identities and the shame that was projected onto you, the shame of the humanity that we all embodied when we came into physical form, because we all remember. We all remember everything that happened on this planet. We remember it lives in our body, in the somatic tissue. So that's why with the Mercury on 0 degrees, it's saying, well, but it's up to you. You can change it. You can override the program. You need to learn to trust yourself. And that's the Chiron square to Mars. Chiron is the key between Saturn, the manifested form, and the Uranus going beyond survival, going beyond thinking that you are just physical, that there is nothing else here. Going beyond that, you need to learn to trust yourself, believe, visualize, right? Dream. With Mercury returning back into the sign of Pisces, the dreams will be crazy. Because even though this is a new moon solar eclipse in Aries, everything is in water. Everything is in water. Mercury is moving into water later on the same day. Yeah. Apart from Pluto, everything will be back, and Jupiter, everything will be back in a feminine signs. It's all about receptivity. So that's why even now, even though we are in Aries season, even though it is the season of initiation and new beginning, it is not yet very forward momentum because Mercury, Venus retrograde, Mars still in a shadow. So even April, it will be a little bit, you know. So I really feel Taurus season. end of April, beginning of May, especially when Mars goes out of shadow on the 2nd of May. So at the moment, things are already starting to move forward slowly. Slowly, surely, Mars is direct, but we don't know where we're going. We have to tune into it, into it, into it. Where are we going? What does this mean for you? What does this mean for me? Right? The sun being a sign of Aries, it's exalted. We are all being reborn. We are all being reborn over here. And look, the 8 degrees, yes. In next 7 and 8 years, we will have again eclipses in the sign of Aries, 2032. Yeah. So by then you will have more idea because it will be the opposition, the eclipse on the south node, the opposition. And then in the next, whatever, till 41, 16, 17 years, right? We will have again the eclipses on the north node in Aries. And by then we will know Pluto will be almost done with the sign of Aquarius. So this is a big cycle, this is initiating cycle that will last for 20 years. Almost started from 2023, but properly 2024 because of the new phase conjunction. So you will not see the manifestation of your desire in tangible form tomorrow. It will take some time, but we can already feel it. We can already visualize it. We can already see it. We can already tune and tap into it. That's why Uranus is supporting this south node, right? And sextile in the north node. There is a supportive aspect. We need to learn from the past. We can go beyond it, but you need to do something. You need to trust yourself. You need to believe in yourself. Is this Venus going retrograde, right? And also Mars. Mars being in Cancer, ruled by the moon, the new moon. So Mars is ruled by the moon, and Mars is also the rule of this eclipse, mutual reception between moon and Mars. Moon, the high priestess. Again, trust yourself. We're learning to trust ourselves. It's the initiation into this new era, which is built from inside out, built from you. Who are you? Who are you becoming, and what do you want to create? What expression of the source is literally this free will? We are no longer bound by the karma of the past that is all being released this year. You are becoming your own creator, right? And that will be it will be illuminated in October, right? Look, 1 degree, 1 degree. By this time, the energy will be completely different because we already have Uranus in Gemini, already retrograde here, and we will have had Saturn in Aries, is already back in Pisces at this stage. But yeah, the energies are moving. Energies are moving. Stellium in Scorpio, deep dive, Cancer, Jupiter, expansion of who we becoming. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that. I think that's all I want to say about this because with again so much energy in water, you have to feel into this. Even though we are in Aries season, yeah, masculine energy, yeah, forward momentum, but not really. The forward momentum is happening from inside out. The only way to transcend the manifested form is that you have to create it in the quantum realm, because otherwise it's just a replication. And then we are just chasing our own tail and we breaking free from that, right? The Mars is squaring, it is squaring, right? It's squaring Chiron, Chiron, the key between Saturn and Uranus, to go beyond this, everything, the totality of manifestation which we see around us, and to, this is a Capricorn decan, by the way, to co-create a new foundation with the spirit, becoming the conscious creator of reality, especially with the Venus being in Pisces, exalted. You need to learn to trust yourself. You need to define who you are and who are you becoming, but don't limit yourself to single definition, because with the moon in Aries, you can be anything you want, right? The magician, you can be anything you want. And that will be again illuminated in October with the Uranus and Pluto on 1 degree. Okay. And yeah, and then by the time this is reset, look at that, everything in Aries, Neptune, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Chiron, and the moon, not an eclipse, not an eclipse. And this will be almost a year after the Venus Libra full moon that's on April 12th now this year. But yeah, balancing. Venus goes into Uranus, 29 degrees Uranus. It's perfect. Okay. All right. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, Everybody, this is all about Aries. It's all about you showing up for yourself, you being the leader and the conscious creator of your reality. So you decide what this means to you. So this is where, the new way of perceiving and identifying astrology will be very different from the old way. There will be less and less predictions, especially long-term predictions, because predictions are not going to work. Because the more people will become conscious and in charge of their destiny, it doesn't matter what somebody else will say, and it doesn't matter how the astrology gets interpreted. You decide what it means to you. You decide how it manifests in your life. Because when we tap into higher expressions, that they will, like if you increase your frequency, let go of the past, create space for the new, and raise your frequency to get to the higher dimension, there is much more available. Yeah, the sky is the limit, the universe is the limit, right? So you decide, it can mean whatever you want to use. So all these planets, they just offer the energy, and how do you use it is up to you. We are all embodying archetypes over here, but once we're done with certain archetypes, then you can choose whatever archetype is the next one that you want to be expressing, right? And it's going to be multiple, because Jupiter in Gemini, it's like multiple timelines are available. Jupiter, the ruler of the North Node, as a traditional ruler of the North Node, Neptune 29 degrees in Pisces, everything is available. Like in a sense, with regards to the physical manifestation and what we're going through, which is, the totality of the Piscean age manifested, it might seem very daunting, but with regards to spirituality and us reconnecting to the true essence of who we are and where we're going, we are in a very good place, because everything is available. The veils are very thin, and we can choose whatever we want. So as long as we become aware, conscious, and willing to let go of that which no longer serves and resonates, because you couldn't be who you were and you couldn't be who you're becoming at the same time. I mean, yes and no, because the timelines are always interconnected. So the past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. But when we look at it from the simplistic linear way, you cannot be who you were 20 years ago in 20 years' time. It's like a different expression, right? So yeah, so this is the intersection. This is the fork in a road, the crossroad. This is where we decide, and each person will decide for themselves, where am I going? Who am I becoming? What do I want to see manifest going forward, right? And you need to learn to trust yourself. You need to learn to believe in yourself. You are the foundation of your future, right? The Uranus as the ruler of Pluto going beyond the Aquarian age, Uranus 24 degrees. Was it 24 degrees? 22 degrees, I believe, no? Or 24, doesn't matter. Let's see quick, because now it's gonna bug me. Mm. Uranus currently 24 degrees, yes. So that's the Pisces. Pisces degree and Taurus, Capricorn decan, yeah, making a sextile to Saturn. This is a closing sextile, liberation. That's the Aquarian sextile, right? Making it in conjunction to, was that Lilith or South Node? Yeah, close the chart, I can't see it anymore. Yeah, in conjunction to Lilith, perfect. Lilith, the shadow aspect of who we are, but it's the moon, just the other side of it, right? The dark and the light. When we embrace both, then there's nothing that will make you feel disempowered anymore. But we're creating a new foundation, which is based on these old energies being deactivated, neutralized, so they no longer hold the power. So this is the initiation, and we will see it manifested. The seeds that you are planting and the intentions you are seeding, you will see manifested over the upcoming 1 to 2 decades. And things are going to start moving very quickly, especially from the time Uranus moves into a sign of Gemini and Saturn, Neptune into a sign of Aries. And yeah, we're going to end this week on the 30th with Neptune entering the sign of Aries. This is a massive shift of energy, massive shift of energy. So yeah, slowly, slowly, as all the players are moving, Saturn then moves in May, Jupiter moves in June, and Uranus in July. By July, we will start tapping into energies of 2026. And that is a very different energy from 2025. 9 versus 10. 9 is the culmination, 10 is the reset, the 0 and the 1. So Yeah, choose wisely, whatever it is that you want to manifest. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna close. Once again, if you would like to book a reading with me, I'm running 25% off sale of all my services. Uh, there are few more appointments. I think I literally, it's like it was 5 or 6 when I last checked my calendar, available for April. Apart from that, I will be offering readings from May 5th onwards because I will be celebrating my birthday, taking a week off for that, and also relocating back to Europe at the end of the month. So yeah, so that's all I had to say about that. And yeah, I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. Enjoy the eclipse, seed your intentions. I know some will say, like, oh, don't do anything on the eclipses, it's all like bad energy or whatever. And I think it's time for us to let go of this fear mongering of the traditional astrology because it served at the time when it was birthed, which was thousands of years ago. It is not in resonance or alignment with who we are now and where we're going. The astrology is not the straitjacket. It is not your prisoner. Astrology is a very fluid language and you use it however you want. So use the eclipses however you feel is the right way for you to interact with the energies, right? So, yeah, you are the creator of your reality. Do what feels right to you. Have a great week. And if you would like to see what cards come up with regards to these energies, then check out part 2. Apart from that, I'll see you in the next one. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.